Welcome back to Ty and That Guy. I'm Wes Chatham. This is my good pal and happy-go-lucky friend, Ty Franck. He was having some internet troubles lately, but now I can see his face in high fidelity, and it makes me happy. Those cheekbones and those jaw lines.
Oh, yeah, that jawline.
You sexy bitch.
Well, I've been described as Brad Pitt-esque, I think. The most common one. Yeah.
And Dirk Diggler-esque from the waist down. Sorry.
Only from the waist down.
From the waist down. Today is a very special day because one of my favorite people connected to the Expanse is our special guest. And do you want to introduce the special guest, Ty?
Really? She's one of your favorite people?
Yeah, she's one of my...
That surprises me.
No, honestly, she's one of my favorite. And it's like...
No, that really surprises me. That is not at all how I expected that to go.
I love this person from the moment she came on. I thought she was so cool, so professional, so hardworking. And also, you can go back and look at all the guests that we've had on, and I'm consistent. Like, Jess is one of my favorite person, and this person is one of my favorite person. And I didn't say that about anything. Sorry, other guest people and reoccurring, but these are my two favorites. And I'll tell you why once we come online.
All right, this is a lot of buildup.
Yeah.
So hopefully she can live up to the hype. But because she was super drunk when we asked, Anna Hopkins has agreed to come on the show and talk about being the fabulous space reporter.
Anna Hopkins.
Monica Stewart.
Hop. Anna Banana.
Wow.
I'll tell you why that you're one of my... This is what my first indelible image, and when I first met you. Steven and I, when we first read the pilot of The Expanse, we knew about the books. So we had this idea of what the show could be if it lived at its highest potential. So we thought, we were, and so we had this idea, this image of what it was going to be and what it was going to become. And there's a lot of sci-fi stuff shot in Canada, and there's a lot of jobs there and everything. And I don't fault them for it, but sometimes when people are coming on and they're doing some guest work or whatever, they've done 5 sci-fi shows that year. And some of them don't read the full scripts. Some of them don't watch the show. Some of them don't do that. And they show up and you can tell they're like, okay, so what is this? Are we beaming or what? And they just...
Are we beaming up? Where do we beam up?
What's going on? Where are the tasers? What's going on? And Steven and I think we're doing Citizen Kane over here. So we're like, you God damn it. It drove me crazy if people didn't come on. And we've been lucky because, and you were evidence of this, that we've got to work with the cream of, Canadian actors. And then when you showed up on set and I saw your first scene, I was like, oh shit. Like you had a sense of history. You did your homework. You knew what the characters were. You knew what you were doing and you were a pro and you were confident. I did a series regular on this show called The Unit. And I came in on season 4 or 5. And these series regulars have been together for 4 seasons, 5 seasons. And I came on and I was like, hey guys, I'm the new guy. And I know what that felt like. So whenever there's somebody that's coming on, has a major recurring, whatever, I want to go out of my way and make them feel, comfortable and everything. Cause I was in that position. I understand what that felt like. But I remember talking to you the first day and you're like, you were so cool and calm and like, I got this. I've done, I know what it's like to come onto a show. And so from then on, we just had the great conversations and great time working together. So that is why you're one of my favorites.
Wes, the layers of compliments in there.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you. That means a lot. That's a really interesting perspective that you just gave me on, being a Canadian actor.
Uh-huh.
And so that's really nice of you to say. Thank you.
Now, once we got to season 3, everything changed. When people came on, they had a different type of enthusiasm for the show and a different type of, history and understanding of the show. But those first 2 seasons were frustrating because, we had this idea of what the show was, and sometimes people would come on, including directors, that were just there, just doing a job, just collecting a paycheck. Mm-hmm. What was your first impression of Anna, Ty?
Well, obviously, I saw her when we were casting the part. I saw the casting tapes that had been made and had the conversations about her. But the other thing with Anna that made that easy is she has done a lot of stuff. So you knew if you were getting her, you were getting a seasoned professional. You weren't getting some newbie who didn't know how to behave. So it was pretty easy casting. But the first day when I knew we had cast the right person, when I was like, okay, we got this one, we nailed it, we're fine. Because I was actually producing the episode. It was the one that I think you talk about as your favorite scene, Anna, where you're confronting Stephen in the galley. It's where Monica confronts Holden in the galley and is like, "You're lying to me, and I'm here to do a job." And she backs him up against the wall, and she's just in his face, like laying it out for him. And then she turns and stomps at, and on her way out, she goes, "I'm going to win so many awards for this." So it's a great scene. It requires a lot of intensity. You have to be believably intense. Like, you can't seem like you're play acting, right? And then she walks out, and I'm kind of hanging around outside the set. It's Steven walks over to me, and he's just standing next to me drinking his coffee, and he just turns to me and he goes, "She is fucking terrifying." And I was like, all right, we got the right one. We got the right one. So that was my first impression.
I love hearing that. I do get cast as sort of mean, intense people, which is funny to me because I'm so mean. It makes sense, I guess.
You're from Montreal, right?
Yeah, I'm from Montreal.
Yeah, born and raised?
Born and raised, yeah.
That is one city that I didn't get to see while I was there, and I really wanted to go.
You've never?
I've heard so much. I've never
you must. Oh, you must.
Yeah, next time I'll definitely go and spend some time.
You'll probably shoot something there at some point.
How often do you get back there?
I go back like every month. I go visit my grandmother, and it's not very far. I take the train. Yeah. I love taking the train out there.
There's a little flight out of what's that airport that's on the island, the little airport. Yeah, there's a flight out of there to Montreal that takes like 40 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's super short. Yeah,
it's so short, so nice.
I actually did a meeting with a game company in Montreal, and flew out of that airport and basically did a lunch meeting. Like, flew out of the airport, landed, went to this meeting, immediately got back on a plane and flew back and was back in Toronto within like 5 hours.
Yeah, you can like pretty much commute if you want to with that. Yeah. With that, was it with Ubisoft?
Maybe.
I used to do a lot of work. That's a wonderful place for actors in Montreal, is Ubisoft. That's sort of big part of a lot of our paths.
And your parents were, if I remember, like in creative industries as well, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Your dad was an artist?
Yeah, he was a painter. And my mom, she started out in painting. She moved into graphic design, and now she's back painting again. Everyone in my family is in the arts in some way or another.
And did that influence you early on? Like, you wanted to be a part of the arts? And when did you first like start thinking, I want to be a performer?
Yeah, the arts was just kind of like, it wasn't, it was just sort of normal. I think like if I was good at math or science, they would be very surprised and confused. And if I said that I wanted to be a doctor, they would be disappointed. So it was like, I'm actually sort of just falling into, the mold of what they wanted me to do. But yeah, I was always involved. I lived at my dad's studio. So I did, I painted all the time. We were just very encouraged to be creative. And since I was pretty young, I was into dance. So that was sort of the beginning of my performance experience. And dance kind of eventually evolved into theater and, getting an agent and acting classes and stuff like that. But it was really dance and gymnastics was my first performing moment.
It's interesting. I had an acting teacher, and she was she was one of my first acting teachers. And one of the things that she talked about is she's like, you need to get into dance if you really want. Your foundation for acting, the foundation of studying acting is dance. And she would show us videos of Baryshnikov dancing. And she's like, if you want to understand how to physically be in love where people can see it, watch him dance. And you see him watch and you see through his presence and his movement. And she's like, if you can understand how your body reacts, if you truly have a belief about something or a point of view, your body will follow through, and you need to have the grace to be able to express that. And then as you get more and more advanced, then you start thinking about like breaking down scenes and scene analysis and that, but you have to start with that. So that's an interesting, did that help you a lot, the foundation in dance going into?
Oh yeah. I mean, it still does. I think just understanding your body physically, to the simplest things of being able to walk into a room grounded is like not something that can happen overnight. And, you know, I see a lot of, you know, I teach acting to young people here, to teenagers, and a lot of people go into it from the outside, you know, from the right away, they're going into the scene, but they can't even walk into a room grounded. They don't know what their feet are doing, what their hands are doing. So absolutely, it's an amazing foundation. And then you get into blocking. Your memorization of movement and choreography is so top notch that you can see, you know, the physicality of camera movements and just it's a huge asset. And I really encourage people to explore it as actors, because it's also like, if you want to feel pure joy, you should learn dance, because it's like the only thing that gives you that.
So Ty is interested in to adding another dimension to his writing. He's talked about doing acting classes. Seriously,
oh my
he's talking
God,
about going,
you must.
Yeah, to go do acting classes. But I think he should start with dancing classes.
I agree.
I think we should be able to.
I agree. Well, you know, you could do you could go do like animal workshop or something like that, sort of like a mix between acting and movement, and start there. I'll send you a link.
I don't think I'm going to do any of those things.
I did an animal workshop one time, and I spent like 3 months trying to be a horse.
I'm sure we went to the same teacher. Where did you do it?
I did it in LA. It was like part of the Alexander technique, and it was like there was an animal program.
Was it like Christoph something?
Yeah, it was Christoph. Yeah, do you know Christoph?
Of course. I took his workshop a few times in New York. What animal was I? I forget what animal I was.
I was doing a show. I can't remember what it was, but I was working with him, and he says, "Why don't you come to my workshop and we'll work on your character." I can't remember what the job was, but he was like, "And then we'll work on your character as we do this." I remember it was a horse, and so we spent like months working on this horse thing. And then the finale of the class is like you pick a song and then you become a horse on stage.
Oh yeah, I remember doing that.
To the song. And what I did find is that once you become a horse on a stage, then like you don't give a shit
you can do anything
anymore. Like you were uninhibited. You can do anything. You've lost it all.
Oh.
And I did it to James Brown.
Did you have to be naked?
I did. Are horses clothes? Come on, this isn't like a half-ass class.
Obviously wearing a saddle.
Only a non-Christoph student would ask that question.
I just displayed my ignorance for everyone.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely. Yeah.
Funny.
What was your animal?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was like it was a type of bird, like a very long-necked.
Did you enjoy the class?
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. I mean, I felt like a real like New York actor, you know, just going to my animal workshop every day.
So were you doing plays as early as high school, or like when did you start?
Yeah, I did. The high school I went to was like very theater centric, so I did lots of plays there. That was sort of my first acting experience.
I think I remember you telling me that didn't you have an instrumental teacher like in your high school that you got really close with?
Yeah, Our drama teacher, Mr. Flowen, still there. Yeah, he was like he was a really interesting guy who, you know, wanted just that sort of classic high school theater guy is like putting on very provocative plays and like casting the grade 7ers. Like I played Sally Bowles in Cabaret in grade 9. And
really,
yeah,
because you sing as well. You have a musical. So did that start from theater?
Singing, I mean, that started in elementary school. I was in a choir all of elementary school. So that's sort of the beginning of my singing. And then high school, did a lot of musicals. And then, just kind of working on, I don't sing like in any professional way, but it is like part of my skill set, one could say. So
for all you fans out there, all you Patreon members, Anna and I are going to do a little musical number at the end. We're going to do a little duet. So you wait for that. It's coming. And then did you study acting in college? So
I didn't get into theater school like I had tried to. So at the time, right at the end of high school, I got an agent. A teacher at my high school, her son and daughter were actors. And her son is Jacob Tierney, who I don't know if you guys know because you're not Canadian, but Jacob is a very incredible director, and he is part of the Letterkenny. He directs Letterkenny, which is a very so his mom was a teacher at my school, and she called Jacob's agent and said, "You got to come see this girl in cabaret." So that's how I got my agent. And my agent said, "You're very talented, but you need some acting lessons." So she sent me to a teacher named Jacqueline McClintock, who has since passed away, who was a very important part of my life. She studied under Sanford Meisner at the Neighborhood Playhouse. And so she started Meisner acting class in Montreal. And she's kind of responsible for a lot of the big actors that came out of Canada. So I continued studying with her throughout university, and I studied writing and communications and film in university. And so I was doing the two of those things and auditioning at the same time. And yeah. And
then right when you got out of college, you just started auditioning professionally?
I was auditioning throughout college. So I was kind of like, I went to school in Montreal. So
did you go to school in Paris?
I did a semester in Paris, yeah, in the last year of my degree. What
was that like?
It was great. It was it was really hard. It was really, really tough because the program that I was in is, could be linked in sort of vague ways to political science. And this school in Paris is like the political science school. Like anyone who goes there in France just like wants to be the president, and like they're intense. Like people are wearing tuxedos to school. Like they take things seriously there. And so
tuxedos, they just bypassed the suit. They were fucking tuxedos.
Like it was wild. Like it's an amazing, it's a very unusual schooling experience. Like if you're coming from North America. And a good friend of mine who was also from Paris, we both decided we were going to do the semester together and that we were going to sign up for our courses online. The courses open at a certain time. And so we get online and the time difference, it's like in the middle of the night. And we realized that we got the time wrong. And so all of the quote unquote easy courses that we were planning to take were filled up because, there was like chemistry of winemaking and like, for like intro, students, and we were really excited about that. But everything was filled up. So I was in like these really kind of complex political science courses that I had no foundation for. And when you go to this, when you do a semester abroad from Quebec, the Quebec government gives you a bursary. And so they kind of pay for you to go. But if you fail any courses, you have to pay the whole thing back. So the stakes were high. And I had lived at the library. And the libraries there are these ancient libraries throughout the city. And during the school semester, they're filled. You have to wait in line. It's like a club. There's a bouncer at the front of the line at the library because you are looking for somewhere to study. So I loved it. It was incredible. It was super hard. I didn't have to pay back my bursary, but wow, was I close. I was real close.
Now, was your friend that you went to college with was Justin Trudeau?
Yeah, so me and Justin, yeah, no, totally. He became
I just want to know how much. I want to know how much they made fun of your Canadian French.
Well, they did.
Because I hear the French are very snooty about that.
They are. The thing is, though, I'm technically an Anglophone Quebecois, so when I learn French, I'm learning from teachers, and the teachers tend to sort of. It's like, I just said I'm thinking about BBC English. I don't know why, but they're teaching us like proper French.
The proper French, yeah,
yeah. So
like how I speak proper English.
Exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
Really similar.
Yeah.
So I can kind of hide.
I studied political science in school as well, U.S. history and political science. Do you know what libraries don't have lines?
Where?
Libraries in the United States don't have lines. Don't have lines. You got all the time in the world in that place. People aren't really interested in that.
Yeah. No, that's what's but it's the same here too. Like it's not normal. But obviously the European curriculum is extremely history based and just, they take in this school, academics are really important. So it was,
well, the one thing beside our Hollywood good looks that Wes and I have in common is we are both college dropouts.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, we're both very impressed by people who actually graduated.
I know, who saw it through.
I took a really long time to finish. I don't know how long. I feel like I did my degree in like 5 or 6 years. I don't know, but I finished.
I think
my wife recently finished. It took her 11 years.
Yeah, but she probably has like a very fancy degree. Yeah, I got my Bachelor of Arts and Science.
That was the setup for the Tommy Boy joke. Like a lot of people go to college for 7 years. Yeah, they're called doctors.
Yeah, I think I have a year left. So I think about it all the time. Like maybe I'll go back.
You should. You could just do online courses and if you wanted to.
Well, that's how I did my last, because when I got my first series, because I started, and we'll talk about that when we get to the top five. But when I started working as an actor, I started right out of the military, and so it was important for me to go to college as well. But I was getting mainly because I was getting the GI Bill, and it was paying all my bills and everything like that. But it was important for me to study other things other than acting, because I knew acting was going to be my life study, and acting is a technique and everything like that. But you have to expand your knowledge of the world and how the world works and personalities and certain things like that.
Absolutely.
That will tie back into it. And then when I got my, I tried to balance it, but I got my first series. I was trying to like do college and that at the same time. And that was just,
it's too hard.
Wasn't happening. So how did you first hear about The Expanse?
I heard about, first of all, I love sci-fi. So, the first season it came out, I watched the show. So, my brother was watching it. It was just like and then I knew a couple of people, working on it. And, when a cool show comes to town, it's like, I want to be on it. But yeah, I had worked on a show called Defiance, which was on Sci-Fi Channel, which you guys were on too. So I was always very aware of like what Sci-Fi was doing and making. And
by the way, you're on every show, not just Defiance. Every show that comes to Canada, Anna Hopkins is the one. I think that's part of the criteria of being able to like, you could shoot a show here, but you got to kiss Anna Hopkins.
What was the show you were on where you played a demon?
Shadowhunters.
I think you
played Shadowhunters.
Yeah.
Shadowhunters. That's right. One of the years we were shooting the show, I was in the same residence as all of the Shadowhunters people. So I would come down the elevator and go out through the lobby to catch my van to the set, and the lobby would be filled with these, like, they looked like they were 14, and they were all beautiful, and they were all kind of posing for each other, and I'm like, what is happening in this lobby right now? And I was like, I realized later it was the Shadowhunters cast.
That is really funny. They probably were 14.
Dominique's on Shadowhunters, right? Dominique, blonde, handsome fella.
Oh yeah, Dom.
Yeah.
Dom, who's friends with Dom.
Yeah. So I hung out with him a lot in Toronto, and we had some wild nights in that town.
Yeah.
Because he was friends with Dominique,
yeah. They were wild. It was like, it's like when you get a cast that young and hot, and they're just like left home for the first time. It's like, weekends are wild.
I remember you telling me that you didn't like being on that show because you didn't like being the oldest person on the cast.
First, I loved being on that show, but yes, that was my first experience being like the old one. And it was really jarring, but it's true. I was like, I played a mom to like someone who is old. Okay.
I was working on something in New Mexico recently, and after work, everybody's like, "Hey, we're gonna go out. We're going to this thing. We're gonna do this. You want to go with us?" I'm like, "Hell no! I want to go home and go to bed and get to work and feel like
oh my
those
God.
days are over for me."
Oh, same.
Like, maybe on Friday I'll go out, and then I'm at home at 10:30, 11.
Then, yeah,
maybe, yeah.
Oof, I know.
Yeah, I remember. You and I, Anna, were at Dominique's house, and we were like the earliest ones to leave. Like they were having a party.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're boring.
We're very interesting. We just go to bed early. That's all.
Have you ever done? Ty and I, by the way, we love horror movies. And did I see? First of all, are you a horror fan?
No. I appreciate horror, but I don't watch a lot of it.
Yeah, I love your decisiveness. Were you in a horror?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember because
I was just in a very, very cool horror movie. It's called VHS 94. And it's part of it's a franchise. I'd never seen the films because I don't really watch horror because I'm a scaredy pants. But it's a franchise. It's VHS movies. This one they're all sort of segments. So each one has a different director.
Yeah.
Mine was.
Yeah, I know those guys. I mean, I know the VHS films, but I actually ran into the guys who make it in an airport once.
Oh, really?
And had a brief conversation with them. Yeah.
Were you working on this during season 6?
We did it in December of 2020, so it was before season 6.
Okay.
It's why you should watch it. It's the segment that I'm in is directed by a woman named Chloe Okuno, who's a really awesome emerging horror. She actually directed a really amazing horror short, which I know you guys are interested in, called Slut. And she made it out of, I think it was her thesis film out of AFI, and that's sort of what got her onto some of these other jobs. But it's wild, this idea that they came up with for her segment. I play a reporter as well. So I drew from my...
You're being typecast as the intrepid reporter.
Yeah. I've done this about 3 times so far, and I plan on doing more.
Well, either you're going to be typecast as an intrepid reporter, or you're going to be typecast as the demon queen of hell.
Yeah, exactly. Mother of all demons. It's classic.
Yeah.
Not mother of all dragons. Not to be mistaken for mother of all dragons. Mother of all demons.
Demons.
Ty, did Monica have the arc that she has in the series in the books?
We gave her more stuff to do later than the Monica in the books does, because Monica's story mostly ends after book 3. But we all liked Anna and came up with reasons for her to hang out with us in season 5. So, yeah, we added more stuff.
So when you came on, Anna, what did you know?
Thank you.
So you knew of the Expanse and you came on. Did you have an idea of how far it would go, or did you think it was going to be one season, or how did it?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I auditioned, I remember being told, this isn't just a 1 episode thing. You might have some more episodes. But yeah, right away, when you're auditioning for something that has source material, you look up the character and you kind of say, okay, but you never count on anything because people get killed off all the time for no reason.
And they keep calling and like even by season 6, you're like, all right, guys, all right, like we got it.
Yeah, I was very, very happy. I knew season 4 I wasn't going to be in that, and then I thought, well, season 5 is so far away, and who knows what's going to happen. But then when that happened, that was wonderful. And then the season 6 call was so nice because it did feel like, it was like, would you like to be part of this, Anna? And also you're in Toronto. So it's just been so nice to have been from the beginning of auditioning for the show and what I ended up getting to do over such a long period of time. It's just so special and kind of unusual for a lot of us. So it's been really nice.
I will say this. One thing I learned producing TV. So in books, you can just create characters. It's fine. And all the characters are awesome because you make them up and you get to tell them what to do. And they always do exactly what you tell them. It is not the same in TV. In TV, casting is always risky because no matter how hard you work at trying to get the right people, there's always the chance that it doesn't work, right? For a variety of reasons. Not always the person's fault. It could be a variety of things. But the thing I have learned, and Narain was a big proponent of this, and I learned at the feet of the master, is if you find a good actor, then later when you need to have more people, see if you can take that good actor you already have and plug them into that spot rather than creating a new character. And it's just really smart way to make TV. The audience already knows them. They already have a relationship with that person. They already like them. And you're not taking the risk of I've made a new character and the person we cast for it is terrible.
Interesting. I mean, makes sense.
Because Kara G absorbed like 8 characters.
Kara G absorbed like 8 people.
8 characters, she's going to say. And, we always talk about It's a Wonderful Life version of Kara G, like a movie where she decides not to do the Expanse and all these other 8 people that get these great jobs.
Get jobs.
Like, thank you, Kara.
That's true. But so what we knew, I mean, in season 5, it was nice to have somebody on the ship with the guys when they were going out and doing their actiony stuff that could be the audience stand-in. Like, Bull, he's a Marine, he's a tough guy. You got the crew of the Rossi, they've been out there before. Nobody there is scared. Nobody there is worried about it. It was really nice to put an audience stand-in on the ship who's, when they're like, we're going to go do this suicide mission. The person who's going, really? Why are we doing that? Maybe not suicide. And then by season 6, of course, the whole issue of somebody trying to humanize the conflict. And in the books, it's Holden that does that, where he makes this series of videos where he interviews people and sends them out to try to get people to humanize the conflict. In the show, that wasn't going to work just because of where people were. And so very quickly, somebody had the idea of like, let's just bring Anna back. Let's just have Monica doing this. And it worked out great.
Aww.
And you, because of that, you got one of my favorite scenes in season 6. It's the interview with the Belter with the cat.
Oh, I love that.
And there's 2 versions of it. There's the version that's all in Belter where you don't understand what they're saying. And then later there's the news report with the translation. It's just a lovely scene.
Yeah, I loved doing that. It was great learning that language for a scene. I felt like, yes, bucket list of Expanse experience.
You're obviously going to be going to like sci-fi and genre conventions for the rest of your life. And you are always, always, always going to get asked to speak in Belter for the rest of your life.
I'm hoping.
Because you did that.
Because I really worked on that. And I would have it, do I have it memorized? But I will have it memorized for all conventions coming up.
All right, audience, all 8 of you heard it.
What was your first impression of the Expanse, like when your first day, like when you showed up? I mean, I know you have a lot of experience of showing up on shows that are already kind of in motion or kind of been together, but I'm sure we were the warmest, friendliest, most professional, talented.
Yeah, no, all of those things, definitely. I mean, even though I was composed, I was pretty nervous just because I was starting with such a big scene. So I really was just trying to focus. And I mean, it's just a very, very professional, tight set. Like that's just compared to a lot of different sets. It's very obvious. So it was nice because I could, just jump in and do what I needed to do. And everyone was really, you were so nice, Wes. I don't even think you were there on my first day.
I don't think I was.
Steven was really nice.
Hopefully our first scene wasn't when I smelled your face.
Yeah.
And how long did you think about reporting me to the authorities?
I had already made a report by then. I was, as you were smelling my face, I was hoping someone was reading the report so I could be saved from that moment.
Wes, you didn't notice that it was after that scene that we started doing sexual harassment seminars every year on the show. You didn't notice that? You didn't draw that connection?
So oblivious.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, like in the moment, I thought it was a good idea. But in retrospect, I was like, I wonder, like.
No, it was a great idea. It was perfect. It worked so well.
Yeah.
I mean, I still reported you, but it's fine. It went into the episode.
I know, but it was only my third time. So fifth time I'm out of there. And then, just talk a little bit about Monica overall and like your arc and your character.
What I really liked about the show is that, a lot of the roles that I will get, well, not all, but sometimes when you're getting into a show and you're recurring, and of course, for so many variables, things just don't pan out for that character, and what might be written in and what you're playing in a season just gets lost. And of course, like there's course correcting all the time, but a lot of times things just kind of fizzle into thin air, and there's no real, answering the questions that were asked at the beginning of your character's journey. And this experience was quite the opposite. So just in that sort of feeling of a substantial kind of journey as a character was really special, particularly when you're not a series regular, because that's usually where that energy goes towards, rightfully so. So I was, really pleasantly surprised. There's always this great feeling when you're starting a role because you've got all of this substance, but it's really that being given that sort of stamina and then finishing it off in a really strong way is kind of the best feeling. And I think this show is a really, really good example of that for myself. And I loved that, she just got older. She just got more mature and more sophisticated and sort of a little bit, mirroring myself as well as these are about 3 or 4 years, mid 20s going into early 30s. And yeah, just that idea of what's important to her at the beginning versus what's important to her at the end is really quite acute and really nice. It was really nice to play and experience. And I finally got to wear blazers by the end of the season of the show. So you can see an arc there, because you start out in yoga gear and you end in a blazer. I mean, all you can ask for as an actor.
I don't think we ever made you wear yoga gear.
I was in yoga gear the whole time, but like very chic yoga gear. No, I'm very happy about it. It's Lululemon. It's a very stretchy, zero gravity friendly type of. Yeah. Monica season 3 is like, it's athleisure.
So did you fire your blind partner with the guy that controlled the drones?
Did I fire him?
No, he died.
I told you he died in a door. I don't know what happened, but there was a door.
He got cut in half by a door
Exactly.
when the big slowdown happened.
Wait, did I kill him? When I spaced him?
No. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Well, indirectly you did. Yeah.
you just want me to have the guilt.
But yeah, you did.
Yeah, somehow you're responsible for that death.
Yeah, indirectly.
I really liked that character. That was I really liked working with him, and that dynamic was interesting.
Yeah, he was really interesting.
He was an interesting actor, and I very unafraid with his physical acting, which we needed for that part. So it was really a pleasure to have stumbled upon somebody who was fine doing the physical stuff we needed him to do.
Yeah, he was really good.
Because one thing you see with he was great. One thing you see with some actors is this hesitance to do things that they think might make them look silly. And so they're always kind of restrained. They're always kind of tight because they don't. And there was no fear with him. He was just doing exactly what we needed him to do.
He's a theater actor.
Did he smell anybody's face?
You'd think he would, but no, it was still just you.
Good actors smell faces.
To get into the scene.
This is what Wes learned by pretending to be a horse.
Very possibly.
So I know that you write, and I was telling Ty that we should do your short sometime when we do our top 5 favorite shorts, because 80s culture is really big in this podcast. What is your ultimate goals going forward in terms of your writing and acting and everything? Do you want to create your own show? First of all, tell us a little bit about your short, and then the show that it got optioned, and a little bit what that show is going to be like.
Yeah, so I made that short when I was shooting Shadowhunters. I actually shot it in the production office at Shadowhunters, turned it into an 80s gamer helpline room. Yeah, I wrote something that was like really early on. It was one of the first things I wrote, and I wanted to write something that I could feasibly shoot myself and direct. And so, the idea of 2 locations, 2 people talking to each other. I was also talking with my cousin who used to work in video game creation, and he was talking to me about these contemporary helplines and how they're just really fascinating conversations that happen with people. Because a lot of people calling in are in like really vulnerable states, and they've been up for hours, and they're, and then, the person answering is helping them. And, there's just so much room to talk and get to know each other and stuff. So I thought, that's a really interesting way to maybe do a phone call short film. And so I wrote that, and then I applied for a grant. We have a lot of awesome arts grants in Canada, and I got one.
But I don't know if Ty's familiar. So tell a little bit about the premise. I think it's a really great premise.
So the premise is a little girl is playing a video game.
I've seen this.
Oh,
I've watched. I actually emailed you, and after I watched it, I emailed you and said, "Hey, I just watched your short."
Oh yeah, because you recognized my voice in it.
Yep.
You didn't know I had made it.
Yeah, I recognized your voice and emailed you and said, "Hey, are you in this short?" And then you said, "Oh, I made that short." Yeah. So yes, I've seen it.
That is so funny.
For the people listening.
So this little girl is playing. She's grounded. She's stuck in the basement. And she's playing a video game, and she reaches a level that she cannot beat. And in a sort of cosmic glitch, she ends up calling the Nintendo helpline number, but ends up getting connected to a helpline employee in the year 1989. So neither of them know that they are talking to each other through parallel universe, and they sort of help each other out. And there's a mini twist at the end to make it all worth it. But it's really about this little girl and this helpline employee kind of connecting over some of their struggles of the day. So I made that, and then it played at Austin, and it did some good festivals, and Dust picked it up, which is online sci-fi short platform, which is great. And about 2 years ago, I got a call out of the blue, and this guy saying that he works for a company, this new sort of production company that is run by this guy who's he teaches at Wharton, and he develops algorithms, and he has this new company where they developed an algorithm to search the internet for ideas or stories that could be worth developing. And the algorithm picked mine out of, and there was a sort of group of films that the robot chose. And then the people at the company watched them, and then they narrowed it down, and mine was included in this. So they gave me a call and said, would you like to develop this into something? Do you see it as a movie or a TV show? And I said, I never really thought about it either way, but how about I give it a shot to develop it into a TV show? And so we've been doing that for the last year and a half. And we have a wonderful first season, and I've been pitching it a lot, and I'm writing the pilot right now. It's a really, really fun, warm, optimistic sci-fi, which is sort of like our show.
Can you talk a little bit about how you're adapting it to the show? Like, what is the idea of the show?
So the way I kind of shifted it is the idea is that this connection is made between these two people, but we don't know why. And the protagonist is an astrophysicist who's kind of realizing
my old job.
Something. Your old job?
Yeah.
Funny, me too.
I left that to become an actor. You know all the science of the Expanse? That's right. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
No, me too. I wanted to consult many times, but they didn't want my notes on physics of space. So she's sort of sets out to uncover the mysteries of this strange cosmic anomaly and why these two people are connecting and why this is happening. And obviously, there are some darker forces at play. And she sort of teams up with this little girl to kind of try and figure this out. So yeah, that's kind of the seed of the series and how it relates to the short film.
Is it aliens?
No.
It's always aliens.
It's actually not aliens.
Well, then you should probably rewrite it.
Okay, fine.
There's your flaw number one.
Yeah, put some more aliens in, or it's just never going to work.
Do you enjoy the writing process as much as you do with the acting process?
Yeah, the more I do it, the more I realize how related they are, and the skill set is just
storytelling.
Yeah, and you're just going at it the same way that you would, as an actor. But when it's good, it feels really great. I'm obviously learning as I go, and it's very challenging. But it's when you're in it, it's that same kind of creative enjoyment and joy that you have when you're like doing a good scene, or you read a great script, or it's the same tools.
They feed each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel like a day of writing is like the similar type of exercise of a day of acting.
Yes. Except one, you're so alone, and the other, you're around so many people. so alone. Yeah. but which is nice. It's nice to have that balance.
Yeah. I'm such an auditory guy though. Like I have to like call and I have like a network of people where I call them like, what do you think about this idea? I do this, that, and I thought about doing this, whatever, because that's how I think. I think by talking. If I sit down, like I need to talk it out, and then I can sit down and start writing. But if I just sit alone in a vacuum, I don't work that way. You should
record yourself.
He doesn't call me anymore though.
Because you don't answer the phone.
Well, and because he's like, well, I was thinking about doing this, and I'm just like, that's just a dumb idea.
You can't.
So he stopped calling.
You can call me, Wes. I'll nurture your ideas.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to send you
calling her
some
dumb idea
tonight. Yeah.
I'm busy tonight, but maybe next time.
Yeah. Mostly what I'm trying to do is...
Whoa, don't let him influence you. Don't let him be the bad angel on your shoulder.
Mostly what I'm trying to do is crush my competition before it gets started. So the larger number of like new writers that I can just drive out of the business before they ever start.
Remind me not to call you.
That's really good for me. Yeah, it's really good for me.
It's kind of
like...
If I
can crush your spirit.
It's kind of like Willow. Like where like there's that baby that's going to or Moses' story, but basically there's that baby that's going to overtake you, so you just kill all the babies.
Yeah. I'm Bav Morda.
Everybody, so I'll be the only option.
Yeah, I'm Bav Morda. Yeah, you guys are all that little I don't know, whatever that little baby with the thing on.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, Anna Banana. Thank you guys for hanging out. This was a good time. Say goodbye, Ty.
Goodbye, Ty.
Welcome back to Tying That Guy.